Hey, remember Granny? And I'm not talking about my relatives, or even yours. I'm talking about the game. The horror indie game Granny was the brainchild of the Swedish game developer Dennis Vukanovic. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I'm probably butchering names. I'm terrible with names. But he is better known as Developer. Releasing in 2017 and peaking around 2018, Granny is a game that I think had such a big impact on indie horror, at least from where I was, but just does not get talked about enough, especially compared to games like FNAF and Hello Neighbor horror. I just feel like the game doesn't get the recognition it deserves for being such a popular game, and it was popular. It was played by a lot of really well-known YouTubers who get a lot of views on it. I actually found the game through people making roleplay videos of it over on TikTok. If anyone watching this knows what I'm talking about, please let me know that I'm not losing my mind, because I can't find my old account anymore. So technically I cannot prove that I just dreamt about this. S-tier content, and I used to make a ton of these, and I thought I was making S-tier content because I was, but yeah, I can't find my account anymore. But yeah, this game was insanely popular, even with a Roblox spin-off that just disappeared off the face of the earth one day, and I just have not heard anything about it since. But considering how popular it was and how it's kind of fallen out of mainstream, it kind of leads us to the question, what the hell happened to Granny? Also, I'm sorry if it doesn't look like I'm looking at the camera. That's because I'm usually not. I'm actually looking at myself to make sure that I'm like doing this properly. I don't know how to make videos, okay? I'm working on it, I promise. But the story of Granny doesn't start here. It starts all the way back with Slendrina. Costume change. Alright, so Slendrina is the first series that Developer made, and there are 10 of these games, right? There's Slendrina, there's Slendrina Asylum, there's Child of Slendrina, there's Slendrina the Forest, Slendrina the Cellar, Slendrina 2D, House of Slendrina, Slendrina the Cellar 2, Slendrina the School, and Slendrina X, or Slendrina 10, because, you know, X is 10 Roman numerals. That one's up to interpretation, I think. There's like a whole family tree here. I did one. I think it's reversing in the camera, so if it is, I will probably reverse these clips here, but I'm not reversing any just because I hate reverse clips of myself. Okay, you've got Granny up there, right? An old hag, the one that hits you with the bat. And you've got Granddad, old hag, hits you with something and occasionally has a gun. You've got Slendrina's mom. Now, a lot of people say her name is Angie, but from what I can tell, that's just fanon. Same way people were calling the crying child from FNAF 4 Chris, when that was never confirmed. And that whole kind of words I'm not getting into right now. You cannot make me. Then we have Slenderman, and from what I can tell in this series, it is canon that his name is Simon, which makes sense. You start with M. No, not M. I start with S. I know my alphabet, I swear, but there is also an M in there. Then we have Slendrina, the thing, the entity, the spirit, whatever is up with her. And then we have Slendrina's husband, who is a vampire, I think. He shows up in Granny 2, like, just falls out of a coffin. It's kind of weird, but like, you know what? I respect the vibe. And then you have Slendrina's child. That thing is a monstrosity. Like, okay, I know that's to be expected when you're getting it from some demon ghost entity and a vampire, but like, oh my god. Also, Slendrina's mom is a spider sometimes. Like, she's literally just vibing. She's just a girl doing girly pop things, and I can respect that as well. It is in my not so humble opinion that Slenderman definitely helped the popularity of these games, because he is a somewhat well-known character. You may not have heard of him. He's a little underground. There isn't really a whole lot of media surrounding this guy. Obviously, I'm joking. He's an insanely famous character, absolutely traumatized me as a child. When I first started doing this video, I was kind of expecting to see that Granny kind of went like downhill in popularity, right? Like kind of fell off, because I mean, last I heard of it, there was a Granny 3, but the only coverage I saw of that was from Dan DTM. Turns out I might have been kind of wrong about that. Unfortunately, Granny seems to have fallen to a fate that I would consider worse than that, which is being used for kids, clickbaity, cash grab type content. I was looking up Granny to like see the videos I got a ton of views, just part of my editing bits, and I found this. And it's kind of unfortunate to see, because I haven't watched any of these videos. Obviously, I'm not for, But typically these videos are very cash grabby for kids because kids will watch anything, and it just looks to see that the game that I really love fell to this fate because it is a genuinely good game. However, it's not just the YouTube videos that have been active. I re-downloaded Granny, obviously, to get footage for this video, right? And I'm playing through it, and I noticed two new things. I noticed two. There's this little grate, and then this other little grate, which looks very similar. It's in different spots, right? And I'm walking around, and I'm here thinking, surely that's just cosmetic stuff that got added in recently. And I'm walking around, and there's a trapdoor in the sitting room, right? And I was like, I don't remember that either, but maybe it was always there. I never spent much time in the sitting room or living room, if you prefer, because I was busy, getting chased or whatever. Didn't really get time to examine it that much. Maybe I was just forgetting about it. Anyway, I was getting a bit tired trying to record stuff, so I just Googled where to find the location of something, and that led me to the spider cellar. And I was like, oh, I thought it was the attic. I thought that's what that was called. So I click onto it, and it wasn't the attic, was it? It was there's this whole other thing, right? So you get the spider thing, and you go into this little trapdoor, and you fall, and you don't die, and there's a little grate, and there might be an item in there, and then you fall again, and you don't die again, despite the falling animation, and you crouch, and you go through this little hallway, and there are spiders, and now those spiders can't kill you. You are safe from those spiders, don't worry. And you can go down one of these corridors, and there's that little grate thing, that the little grate, the metal thingy-majiggy that was at the garage, and you can push it open and you can hop out there at the garage. Or if you are a curious and idiotic person like me, you can go back down. You can go back down that corridor where all the wee little spiders that cannot kill you but are kind of horrifying are. And as I was walking down this corridor, I see something dash by me, and I take a second to breathe, to calm down, and it's Slendrina's mom, but either she's grown a lot, or we have shrunk a lot, or we're a different character. Maybe we're a different character. But I theorize that she's grown a lot because everything else in the game seems to work for a character size. The point is, she's big and she is scary. So as I'm recording this clip right here, I have gone down a little bit of this hall and gone up around, and that's it because I was too scared to do anything else with her. This is a terrifying creature. Okay, I might have been a little bit over dramatic there. So this whole spider section is kind of like a maze. There's a lot of little crawlways you can get through, a lot of different paths you can go down. Spider Mom cannot crouch, which means you can go through those little crawl spaces and she can't get at you. You can use those for avoiding her if needs be. There's also a lot of little spaces where you can find items, like I found the raw meat on this table. And there's also this little box. I'm assuming sometimes things spawn in there, but nothing spawned in there for me this time. So there's also this room here. I'm assuming it's some kind of puzzle room, although I have not completed it yet. And Spider-Man cannot get in here because the only two entrances are through these two little crawl spaces that you just cannot fit through. Granny has also clearly been investing in a bit of technology, and maybe she'll become a crypto bro, who knows, because she's got a bit of an elevator added in now. Very nice. It took me couple of seconds to figure out how it works, but then you go up the elevator and I go back down, but you're not supposed to do that. And then I went back up. So when you go up the elevator, there are these two boxes there. There's one labeled 1 and there's one labeled 2, and I foolishly just ran in and opened the one labeled 1 and I died for my foolishness. There is a corresponding number in the room behind all the boxes, behind the wardrobe, and there was a number 2, and I don't know if it says number 2 for every single playthrough, but it said number 2 for mine anyway. So I went back to the elevator and opened up box number 2 and I got an item, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Another update that this game saw since I last played it was in the room behind the bookshelf. What the way it was beforehand was you'd have a wall and you put the book down on the book stand, and the wall kind of goes back to reveal Slendrina's mom, and she's chained up and she's presumably dead because she's not moving. However, now she's already there when you open the room, and when you put the book on the stand, she kind of becomes freed. And what she is supposed to do, but would not do for me while I was recording, is she's supposed to crawl out herself and then throw up the spider key. This also raises a lot of questions, like, is Spider Mom and regular mom two different people? Have I been wrong this entire time? I don't think I have. Point is, if you have not played this game in a while, or you just haven't played it, go get it. It's free. At least it's free on iOS. There's been some pretty fun updates, and it's a good game. Some people might say that since Granny has kind of fallen out of discussion surrounding horror indie games, which we have games like FNAF and very similar games, that it has fallen off a bit or has failed. I would actually say the opposite is true. I mean, first of all, there is obviously still content being made around it. There's still clearly a fan base for this series, and a very active fan base at that as well. But secondly, even if it did like crash and burn at this point, like no one was talking about this game at all. Assuming that the developer was smart with his money, he is set for life, right? Like he definitely made a lot of money off these games, like off ads on Reddit or whatever. Like he should be sorted financially speaking for life, which means that then he can just make games out of sheer love for it. He doesn't need to worry about profiting. He can just do it because he wants to. And in my opinion, that is the greatest success of them all, being able to do something you love just out of sheer love for it.